Sal Berry.
Shifty Pivots could be a rap album by Patrick Kane.
And Tim Parish.
Speed merchants. These are supposedly fast guys, but speed merchants would be people selling speed. So these are drug dealer cards because they're speed merchants. They're selling speed. Speed is bad. Drugs are illegal. Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
This is the Puck Junk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Puck Junk Podcast. I'm Sal Berry. Along with me is Tim Parish, aka the Real DFG on Twitter. And today we're going to talk about some hockey cards. We're going to talk about some new releases, some eBay items, vintage set. We're also going to talk about PK Subban's new YouTube channel. So those are our topics for today. So Tim, how are you this fine day, afternoon, evening, whenever?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, I just watched Kirby Doc make his NHL debut, and he won the face-off, his first face-off, and that's about it. And that's okay. You know what? He didn't get a penalty. I don't think he was a minus. Maybe he was. I don't know. The Hawks played against the Capitals. They didn't do too great.
I took a look at that after the game ended. He was a -1.
Oh, okay. He was a -1, but he did win a face-off. He won his first face-off. He got to be the starting lineup, and he
had a block shot too.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah,
is he on your fantasy team this year?
No. I was just checking because I know, when these rookies pop up and they get their debuts, you know what's coming next. The Young Gun card. So
the Young Gun card, the game dated moment card, the Tops Now sticker, the all of the above. So
that'll be his first.
His first what?
That'll be his first real card because he's got 32 and they're all minor league cards.
Yeah. Well, Junior, he did actually play for the Rockford Ice Hogs on a conditioning stint, but he's not going to get a card in. They usually put in their team set around the end of the year, and he's probably not going to be back with them by then, so he won't get an Ice Hogs card. But so we're going to talk about some new releases. My new pet project that I like to talk about each week is the Tops Now stickers. So last week I talked about how the Tops Now hockey sticker pack for week 1 was it was a what was it? It was a print run of 1483, I think was the specific number of how many they here, I got it right here. It was 1,483 packs is what the print run was. Now for week 2, it's disappeared off their website, so I can't see it. I can't find it in the archives, but I'm going to guess that it's probably the same number, or maybe it's a little less, because what's happening now with Tops Now stickers week 3 is that they're adding a chase sticker element to it. So let me give you the heads up on that. So far they've confirmed, as of this recording, Sonny Milano, Evander Kane, Connor Mcdavid, and Sidney Crosby are the 4 stickers in the week 3 Tops Now hockey sticker pack. Stickers 5 through 9 are TBA to be announced. However, 1 in every 3 packs is going to contain a chase sticker of Capo Caco, and it's going to be designed like a 1990-91 Bowman hockey, because if there's one thing we can't get enough of, it's 1990-91 Bowman hockey.
I can't get enough of it. I don't know about the rest of you.
Bowman hockey, you can go, those repack boxes that'll say 300 hockey cards for $9.99 or whatever.
The Fairfield boxes, yeah.
The Fairfield boxes, yeah. I saw a repack box that said contains 4 unopened packs plus the entire 90-91 Bowman hockey set. It literally was just the whole Bowman hockey set plus 4 new packs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it factory sealed?
No, it was probably just hand collated, which is a lot of work for not. I mean, there's no chase cards in that set. There's gum.
Yeah. There were the hat trick heroes, yeah. Or hat trick whatever they were called.
Hat tricks, and then the Brian Leach error card, which you may or may not find, and that that was corrected. I think it was maybe more of a printing mistake, but I okay, so all right, well, that was cool. I mean, I saw that and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I mean, I was a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I wonder if Topps is gonna use their vintage designs on these stickers, and sure enough, they are. But it's to hook suckers like me to buy 3 packs, even though I only really need 1 pack. But now I'm thinking, if I buy 3 packs, maybe I'll get this chase sticker of Kako in a 1991 Bowman design. And of course, the 15-year-old inside of me is like, yeah, that sounds awesome, right? Go ahead and spend $23 on hockey stickers when you only really need to spend 7-ish.
And maybe you'll actually get the Kako instead of the website crashing when you try to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think the demand was the same for the top stickers, but a couple other things I just want to talk about here. So, I didn't notice this before. They actually listed the size of the stickers. They are 2.075, well, whatever, 2.075, by 2.875. So we'll just say like 2 and not even 2.25, 2.08. I don't know what that would be by 2.8. So like 2.9, 2.1 by 2.9. So like say 2 inches by 3 inches, basically. So they're sticker size, but not even 2 by 3. It'd be badass if they were like full 2.5 by 3.5. And they're like, yeah, we know they're card size, but they're still stickers.
Make it easier if you didn't want to put them or seal them in your booklet.
Stick them in the album, yeah.
Or the album, you could put them in a top loader or something like that.
So here's the thing. Starting week 3, they're going to do special sticker inserts. Like I said, they're doing the Kako and 1991 Bowman hockey design. Now they're also saying buy every pack from week 1 through the 2020 All-Star Game and receive a commemorative All-Star Game sticker set. And then it says here, buy every pack from week 18 through the 2020 Stanley Cup Final and receive a commemorative Stanley Cup Final sticker set. So this is kind of similar with like what Upper Deck is doing with game dated moments, where they're trying to get you to buy all of them, and then you'll get like a special chase card if you buy every one of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, and by the way, they were also Topps sent me an email today. They're like, we're sorry, there's been some delay in getting your week 1 shipment out, so here's a coupon for 10% off. And so if you want to save 10% off your next order of Topps Now stickers, use the coupon NHL Topps Now 10 and save 10%. That's NHL Topps with capital T, and then now all capitalized 10. So yay, I guess. I guess if I'm going to buy 3 packs, I'll save $2 instead of, 70 cents. And then Upper Deck also announced their week 2 of game dated moments. Carter Hart's first NHL shutout, Quinn Hughes' first NHL goal, and Capo Caco's first NHL goal as well are the next 3 cards for game dated moments. $3.99 each. Each card is $3.99, but then you also must buy 1 e-pack, any e-pack, to unlock the ability to buy these cards. And I know you're not a big collector of game dated moments.
Since we talked about that the last time, I forgot I got a big ComC order that I cashed out on.
Mm-hmm.
Came and I had some game dated moments of Penguins in there. I didn't realize I had, but so now I do own some game dated moments cards.
Well, and did you pay like $4 or $5 each for them?
No, I paid like 25 and 30 cents for them.
So somebody paid $4 for them, but then sold them for 30 cents?
Yeah, and this could be a whole nother topic, but I think anything that's gone on ePack that has the ability to cash out on to where you can add it to your ComC account.
Yeah.
That whole entire market is just for lack of a better word, dead. I mean,
Well,
it kills the value on cards. It really
well, but
does.
you have to pay $4 for the card.
That may very well be, but if you search ComC for the game dated moments that you can move over into your account, you will find tons of them that are less than $2.
So maybe people just traded them and maybe they were just throw-ins, like,
It's
okay, I'll
possible.
trade you this game dated moment for this other card that I really want. And then you're just like, whatever.
It
50
could be.
cents, $1, just to get rid of it. Yeah, and I think that's okay. I mean, it could be, you could pick and choose. And then also coming out on October 23rd is the 2018-19 Upper Deck The Cup set. Right now, the pre-sale for a box is around $530. One pack per tin or box. I guess the box is a tin. 6 cards per pack. So you're looking at a little under $100 a card. One autographed patch rookie card per box, one additional autographed patch card per box. So I have never bought a box of the cup, but I do own a couple of cup rookies. The one I've been putting out on Twitter and Instagram lately is the one I picked up of Jeremy Colleton, because he was in the 05-06 the cup set. Obviously, there were a couple more important, or I don't say important, a couple more collectible rookies in the 05-06 the cup set. But Colleton was also in that set, which is kind of funny if you think about it, because that's still pretty recent. I mean, that's within the last 15 years or so, and less than 15 years. And it's I didn't pay a lot for it, but it's just kind of funny. But you've bought the cup in the past.
I did once.
So, I mean, were your hits like Mark Parish and Kevin Fiala? Because those are the guys that I get.
It was Sergei Samsonov, and no, I'm just kidding. Um, it was, and I didn't buy just one box. I bought a case, which is technically a box, but it's called a case. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
so that so you have the case and you have the inners, and the inners are boxes, but they're actually packs. So I don't know. It messes with your head, but anyway. So I bought one case.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what year it was. I don't know if it was 10 or 11. I don't know. I guess that's insignificant. But I had there was like a four piece Lundqvist
Mm-hmm.
jersey, not signed. It was four white pieces, which was kind of upsetting. I did get a gold four piece, like four jersey pieces autograph of Luke Robitaille, which was a pretty cool
Nice.
card. Um, got some rookie, auto jersey swatch pieces of players I can't remember off the top of my head. A bunch of them I sold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know I got a dual auto Eric Stahl and Jerome Iginla, which I sold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't remember. I can't remember everything that was in there. The vast majority of it, though, once I got it, I threw it up online and got rid
Mm-hmm.
of it because there was only very few pieces that I actually wanted to keep that fit anything in my collection. So everything else I got rid of. And I will say I did not get my money back out of it. I will tell you that.
No, but it was the joy, the thrill of getting to open.
Oh, it was crazy. I mean,
I
I
mean,
was
was there
nervous
anything?
the whole time. I was
Mm-hmm.
like freaking out the entire time. My hands were sweaty. It was like the whole thing of when you drop that kind of money on something,
Mm-hmm.
it's frightening. It is frightening.
Did
But
did you get anything that you decided to keep because it was just so cool when you bought that case of the cup?
I kept the Robitaille. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what else I ended up hanging on to out of that. I do have the Lundqvist still, only because it never sold and I never put it back up again.
Because somebody didn't want a card with 4 white swatches.
Yeah, But I mean, here's the thing: you got one of those inner packs, and I'm not sure. What'd you say the pre-sale was?
530 on DA Card World at the moment.
530 for a pack.
Yeah, pack 10, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so
For 6 cards. 530
Yeah,
for 6 cards.
yeah. So essentially, I mean, if you want to break even on that, you're really looking at $100 a card, roughly. 85, 90 bucks a card, whatever that works out to. But you're pushing $100 a card. There's no way you're going to get that unless you get something crazy that, is a hot player in a hot market that's popular, and or it's some kind of rare, very low serial number. Because the base cards, once the set's out for a while,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the cup has base cards, which I still don't understand, but the base cards are numbered, but they're not, by today's standards, they're not low numbered.
Mm-hmm.
So, those don't really sell for a lot, and you're going to get a base card, at least one, I think, in a pack.
Right.
Right? Yeah, so
You're
that's
lucky
not
to
a
get
hundred
5.
dollars. Yeah, that's not $100 card. So you've wiped that out. So now you got to add $25 to each of the other cards. So now
Right.
you're up to selling them for 125. You know, from a collector's standpoint, I don't know. That's not a set that I think a normal collector
Mm-hmm.
goes after. That's become like the the case breaker, group breaker set that everybody's going after. And back when I first did it, there weren't those didn't exist. And so a lot of that didn't flood the market as quickly as it does nowadays. So
Yeah. And that's good and bad. I mean,
I
yeah,
like
we
the
talked.
cup. The cup's got good stuff, especially the last couple years. Those monumental patches that they have in there, those
Mm-hmm.
booklet cards, those
Mm-hmm.
are really nice. Where they take a full patch and they basically break it in half so that
Mm-hmm.
the booklet opens up and folds out. Those are really cool. I like the way
Yeah.
those look.
Upper Deck has been sharing a lot of those on social media. I tend to notice their stuff more on Facebook. So if you haven't already done so, give Upper Deck a follow on Facebook because they've been posting a lot of stuff on the cup. They could post more than 4 images in a Facebook post versus, like, say, a tweet. So you can actually see a lot more new cards at one time. And yeah, they've been posting a lot of those booklet cards, and they're very nice.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. And I don't know if it was this year that I saw, they have those like autographed ticket booklets
Yep.
where it's got part of a ticket on one side and then the other side has got the player's sign, and usually will write something like a little, like their Twitter handle or
Mm-hmm.
a stat or something like that on the side. Those were kind of cool too. But, you know, I'm
So
not it's a little too rich for my blood.
So you were talking about selling these cards off on eBay, and so that which kind of is a nice segue to our next topic, which is you dug around and found another 5 interesting eBay auctions for hockey cards from the past week.
I did. Um and there were some interesting sales that went down this week.
Okay.
How do you want me to go? You want me top down or bottom down? I can start with number 5, I guess. How about that?
Yeah,
We'll
that
work our way to
sounds.
number 1.
Yeah, do
So
like the David Letterman thing.
yeah, so if we're looking at the top 5, the fifth highest hockey related sale that I found was an ungraded complete set of 51-52 Parkhurst.
Wow.
Somebody actually had a full set, cards number 1 through 105. Um, I mean, it was ungraded. I looked through it. Quality isn't that bad on them from the
Hmm.
pictures that I saw, considering this is a pretty condition sensitive set. And if you look at a lot of the cards that are graded, a lot of them have lower grades. But again, we're talking early 50s set and back in the time where cards weren't collected. So, but this sold in best offer format. It was listed originally for $9,999, and
Nine
it's
nine nine nine
yes, and 99 cents,
nine nine.
uh, and it sold for 9,500. So a 105 card set from 1951 sold for $9,500.
Wow.
If you can believe that.
Yeah, I can. I mean, you got Gordie Howe, you got Maurice Richard, you got a lot of Hall of Famers in there who have their rookie card. Ted Lindsay, some other guys who had played, were probably winding down their careers by 51, 52, and that was like their first card. So it's a significant set. I only have maybe about 20 or so cards from that set, 20 or 30 that I found that were like in rough shape, and most of them were like $7 to $10, and I was just like, when am I going to see these again? So I
Right.
grabbed them. But I think the guy had a Lindsay rookie that had a little bit of a crease, but it was, I don't remember what I paid for it, but I just looked at it and I said, I never see Ted Lindsay rookies unless they're like graded and like way, 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 way out of my range. So yeah, it's definitely a significant set. I don't know if it's the most attractive set, obviously, but it's it's significant for those reasons. First hockey set in a long time, a lot of Hall of Famers. So what else? That one sounds
So
like a really nice find.
that was number 5. Number 4 was sticking with the vintage realm. George Vezina, 1911, C55 Imperial Tobacco card.
Nice.
It was graded so that'd be his rookie. It was graded PSA 5.
Mm-hmm.
Was sold by it now $9,750
Wow.
for a PSA 5. Strangely enough, which I thought was interesting about this one. So it's a George Vezina, right? And it was
Yep.
sold by the user that sold it was their username was AJ Vezina. So I don't know if that was just coincidence or if that was set up that way or what. It was just kind of weird, I thought.
It was a
So
relative or something. Who
I don't know.
knows?
I don't know. So 9750 was that one. So moving on to number 3,
Mm-hmm.
we come back more recent. So we had a 15-16 Upper Deck Young Gun exclusive of Mr. Connor McDavid. So the exclusives are numbered out of 100. This was a PSA 10 sold by our good friends over at Probstein 123. This was an auction format too, so there were actually 31 bids on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Final bid rounded out at $10,322 for that piece of cardboard slabbed in a nice plastic coffin. So,
No
yeah,
words.
no words. Okay.
No words.
All right. No words. We can move on. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is another more recent card. It was a 15, the cup, since we were just talking about the cup. This was an exquisite RPA patch of Connor McDavid. So these were numbered, I believe, out of 97 because they were all numbered out of their jersey numbers.
Mm-hmm. Well,
This
wouldn't
was
that be 87?
no, it was a McDavid.
Oh, McDavid. I'm sorry. I was
Yeah,
thinking the other one, Crosby. Sorry, my
yeah.
bad.
No, it was a McDavid.
Yeah.
But this was a PSA 10. And the auto was also graded a 10, which I don't understand how they grade the auto separate, but yeah, this one was sold best offer by also our good friends at Probstein 123. This was listed originally for almost $24,000, and it sold for 11 grand.
Wow.
$11,000. So
Yeah,
that
that's
was interesting. But the big guy that sold this week was an 0506 Upper Deck the Cup Ovechkin rookie. And this was the patch auto, numbered out of 99. It was a nice patch. It was 3 color. Had the auto on it. This was a Beckett grade 9.
Mm-hmm.
Was listed for 22.5. Venture to guess how much it sold for?
let's see, 22.5, and there usually some wiggle room, and it's Ovechkin. I don't know, 17,000.
Very close.
All right.
It actually sold for $18,750.
Okay.
So the big dog of this week was an Ovechkin rookie for $18,750.
That is
So
crazy.
yeah. So it's interesting to find some of this stuff. I look at this every week just to kind of see what's selling out there. And you get a lot of the vintage stuff, especially vintage that's graded. And you get a lot of the Mcdavid rookies and a lot of Crosby rookies and a lot of Gretzky rookies. They're usually the ones that pop up on there. But the funny one this week, and I sent you over that listing, is right now. And I encourage anybody listening to just do a search for this. It's 0506 the Cup, and it's a Crosby Ovechkin rookie shield card. It's numbered 101. So if you're not familiar with the rookie shields, they basically take the NHL, just the NHL logo shield, and they plop it on the card. This listing is up right now, and they are asking, since we're in the United States, let's use US dollars. They are asking $3.8 million for this card.
Plus like $75 shipping.
Something like that. So that's 5 million Canadian. And I found this kind of comical. First of all, there's a picture of the front of the card. They didn't bother to scan the back because, I mean, for $5 million Canadian, who has time for that? But the funny part is, and I don't know if you went down and read the description on this one, but I'm just going to throw it out there. It says, this listing is for the 0506, the Cup, Crosby Ovechkin, 1/1 rookie shield, the #1 hockey card of all time, according to their description. Upper Deck made history when they put these two future superstar shields on the same card. Feel free to ask any questions, and high-end trades are welcome. We'll consider trading for a small country, jet, or large island. Super high-end cards, precious metals, large land in Ontario, multi-residential buildings, high-end muscle cars, and newer generation Stern and Jersey Jack pinball machines, etc. If you have high-end trade ideas, I'd like to hear them. And it continues with all the garble stuff about payment due and blah, 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 and ends it with go Leafs.
I love the way the guy is saying, I will trade this card for an island, a jet, rental properties, lots of land in Ontario, or pinball machines.
Yeah, or pinball machines, yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's so we know what the low threshold is, because I think I could probably get a couple of pinball machines for less than $5 million and maybe trade them for it. But
yeah, that one was pretty funny. And just one other one that I found, not to beat a dead horse into the ground, but I found this one pretty interesting. There's an 85-86 O-Pee-Chee hockey vending case that's sealed that somebody's trying to unload. Their asking price on it's $149,000.
How many cards?
Well, it's a sealed vending case, so you're looking at 8,650 cards in the box, packed in those nice little brick boxes that some of you may remember seeing, that are, the tops ones were blue with kind of red and black lettering on them, designed to be put in vending machines.
Right.
Historically, people that know how vending cases worked, historically, vending cases mostly had better quality cards than normal wax boxes. You had much less specimens that were less, they had less miscuts. They weren't as off center a lot of times. So if you're assuming an even distribution here, which there's not, but if you assumed there was, that would be 32 of each card from the set would be in that box. So that means you have a shot at 32 Randy Hillier rookies or 32 Brian Hayward rookies. Could you imagine that? 32.
85-86.
Yeah.
32, or
86-87. No, 85, 86.
Well, that's Mario's year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. He
Yeah,
was
that
he,
guy.
he was pretty good too, wasn't he?
He did all right for
All right.
himself.
Well, as a representative example of that, I know I'm being facetious here, but PSA nines of that Lemieux rookie traditionally sell for about anywhere from 900 to $1,000, almost all the time. So if you do the math, you're going to get 32 of those. You're talking about turning 28 to $32,000. So I asked the question, where's the other 117,000 coming from in value that you're supposed to be pulling out of this vending case if you're only going to get a maximum of 32 Lemieux, and let's just assume that you can get most of them at a grade 9.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, the other thing is if you get 32 Mario Lemieux cards, rookie
Don't
cards.
forget you get 32 Doug Litzter rookies too. So
Oh, yeah, Lidster. And you're forgetting the number 3 pick of the draft that year.
the number 3 pick.
Yeah, the voice of hockey in America.
Oh, okay. He was
Former
he in that?
Blackhawk and
Was he
Penguin.
it?
Yeah,
Is
Eddie
he in that
Olczyk.
set?
Yeah, Olczyk. I once had
Okay.
to trade an entire pack of 89 Topps baseball for an Ed Olczyk rookie card. Like I had a friend who had that card. It was a Topps version, not the OPG version. And I traded him an entire pack of 89 Topps baseball for that one card. And it was worth it to me at the time because, it was like 50 cents, an 89 pack of 89 Topps baseball. But I remember, but here, going back to my other point, so here's one problem with that argument, and not an argument that you're making, but you get 32 Mario Lemieux OPG rookie cards. They all grade at, say, PSA 9. What does that do to the value of PSA 9 Mario Lemieux rookie cards?
Well, again, like I said,
It
they've been
brings
selling. It would bring them down because there'd be more out there. The population would be less or
right. So
would
now
be
it's
higher.
yeah.
So
So
your 900 to 1,000 may be a little bit less than that. Now, if you got some of those at a grade 10, hey, good on you. Then go for it because you're going to pull a heck of a lot more than that.
but
But
I've heard rumors that PSA will downgrade a card because they're trying to control the population of those PSA 9s, those PSA 10s. I mean, I've had card dealers tell me they've pulled cards from packs, put them straight into like the holders, sent them to PSA, and they come back at an 8. And they say, how can this come back as an 8 or a 7, 7.5, whatever? I don't even know what a mint is. Is mint 7? Or is it near mint? Something like
yeah,
that.
I think
Right. So
it's higher.
they're population control. They're saying, oh, that's not a PSA 9. Sorry, there's only 5 of this PSA 9, and we're gonna talk about it in our magazine and online and in our little email e-blasts and whatnot. And yeah, they'd get mad if you sent them 32 Mario Lemieux rookie cards that were mint and well centered. They'd say, yeah, those aren't all 9s.
Well, it's another in a long line of reasons why I'm not into graded cards.
Yeah, me neither. So let's talk about Mr. PK Subban and his YouTube channel. So I I'm gonna admit I did not watch the video. You were like, oh, check out the PK Subban YouTube channel, and I'm thinking, all right, I know it's been out for a little while now, so I'm thinking it's probably got to have 5 or 6 videos up on it. As of right now, it only had one video, and it was 10 minutes, and I was saying to myself, I'll finish watching this later, and then later never came. So I'm asking though, PK, dude, seriously, a video cannot be 10 minutes. In the age of, well, there was Vine, and now there's TikTok, which is like 15-second videos, but now they're longer. People don't have the attention span for a 10-minute video. I mean, they do, but I didn't know if I wanted to watch that for 10 minutes. I was afraid that air horn was going to go off every 30 seconds, and here's my dog. I punched out after
That's
after
right. I forgot he did that a bunch of times.
Yeah, like the Progressive insurance box, with a little
Yeah.
air, right? So what
Uh-huh.
happened? Talk to us about this video.
Okay, so here's the thing. So you got PK, who he's a larger than life character. Everybody knows that. Some people love him, some people hate him, but the fact is he's a personality in a sport where most players lack that, or at least don't express it.
Right.
But so he's this larger in life kind of person and everything else. So he launches this YouTube channel on Wednesday. Okay. So it's this past week. It's fairly fresh. I think
Yep.
he's the only NHLer that I know of that have their own channel. So he's a brand. Like he's a yes, he's a person, he's a player, but he's a brand, okay? And he's trying to promote his brand. Fine, I get that. I have no problem with that. So he posts a video, and basically what it was is the first video is kind of him going over what he's going to do in all of his videos, and it's going to be, follow him around the day of a practice and at practice and on game day and what he does and his rituals of getting ready and maybe, what he eats or the different stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, great. But those that are New Jersey Devil fans or those that are hockey fans and are aware of what's gone on, this was pushed on everyone on Wednesday. And if you follow hockey, you would know that on Wednesday, the Devils still had yet to win a game at all for the season. Their record at the time, I think they went winless in 6 games. I mean, they were like, or maybe it was less than that at that point. I think they were 0-2-1 or something, or 0-3-1. Now, granted, they won on Thursday, and I think they won yesterday too. But they've been having problems. They've been in the news. In fact, their assistant GM was moved down to become a bench coach because there were issues. Now, I'm not saying that he was part of the problem or he has anything to do with what's been going on. I'm not saying that at all. But
you're talking about PK or about
about PK.
Tom Fitz? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying PK is part of the problem or whatever's going on with the team, but that's hell of a timing to try to push that on everybody when your team isn't doing so hot at that point. And so it kind of brought the question to mind to me is, at what point do you separate your personal from your professional? I mean, especially when you're playing for a team that's, I don't want to say in dire straits because it's the beginning of the season, but I mean, it's basically a New York market. They're playing in New Jersey. If you don't win right away, the sky is falling. And so you're going to be attacked in the media. So you have to pick your spot, So how does that look as a teammate in the locker room that you're throwing this out there and, here's me looking at you going, what is your focus? And you're dropping this YouTube channel and all of this kind of stuff. Now I could see, you're a healthy scratch, you're on the shelf, you're up in the booth wearing a suit rather than being down on the ice. Tweet away, do whatever you want, Instagram, social it up, but come on, seriously, shelve that until you can turn the season around and take the focus away from something like that. I have no problem with him doing it. It's just the timing was really, really bad. And whether he's responsible, he may not even be responsible for his own social media. I don't know. He probably maybe has a team or something, but he's in the videos. So, you have to take ownership of that.
Clearly, he did not edit that video himself.
I'm sure he didn't edit it.
Just from the fact that I know how long it takes to edit a video and all the cutting and effects that I saw in just like the first couple of minutes that I watched. I mean, the first thing I thought when I was watching this is it was like, I'm PK Subban and welcome to my YouTube channel. And then I'm like watching this and I go, yeah, it must be nice to have a videographer and a sound guy and an editing guy and all, like people who could just do all that stuff for you. I mean, and I don't have a problem with it. I mean, look, if the Devils were 5-0, then we wouldn't be complaining about the timing. If PKA had, a goal and 5 assists at this point, we wouldn't be complaining about the timing. It's just that their team is not really doing well. They're having trouble early on. They're surprising everybody because everybody thought that they were going to do very well.
Yeah, look at their preseason.
And so, yeah, it seems kind of, I don't want to say pretentious, but maybe a little, I don't know. I don't want to say egotistical. I don't want to say pretentious. I liked PK Subban before everybody else liked PK Subban. Well, not everybody else, but I liked him since I got his 10-11 score rookie card, and I was like, became aware of him and kind of noticed, what he was doing in the minor leagues with at the time the AHL Hamilton Bulldogs. And I'm just like, okay, this guy's cool. And then he Montreal, and then just like, just how he's this great personality. He's just a really cool dude. I mean, I know people who've met him, talked to him, worked with him for like, different non-hockey things like commercials and stuff. And they've just said like, he is just genuine. He is just as cool as you think he is. He's as nice as you'd hope he would be. So yeah, I don't mind. I'm kind of wishing the videos would be shorter and punchier and funnier. I don't know if I really want to see what he does like to prepare for a game or whatnot, because I feel like the NHL has beaten that to death with all the hockumentaries that they've done since the very first Road to the Winter Classic.
To a hockey fan, maybe, but I don't think this isn't just for hockey fans. I think a lot of people are going to latch onto this as more of a, hey, here's something on social media that I can watch that is cool, and here's a personality that's, larger than life, rather than, oh, look, it's an athlete doing athlete things.
No, I love it. I love it.
I mean?
Because didn't you used to collect football cards of Gronk?
Me?
You?
No.
No, not you.
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be caught dead in owning anything with the Patriots logo on it.
Yeah, but Gronk did that PSA telling us that eating Tide Pods is bad and that you should never do it.
Don't care. I honestly don't care. Next.
Okay, well, so today we're gonna.
No, but seriously, I'm not ripping on him coming out with this. I'm just questioning the timing. I mean, it's your brand. Take ownership of your brand. It's not about you right now. It's about the team. Be quiet. Do this later. That's all I'm saying.
When is later?
Later. Just later when the heat's off.
Their first win, their fifth win, when they're 500, All-Star break.
I don't know.
Personal success or team success?
American Thanksgiving. That's the cutoff. Then do whatever you want.
Okay. I like that, actually.
There
Yeah, because then the whole newness of the season is kind of like hockey, kind of like that the shine has come off the apple, so to speak. We're not talking about the new season now. We're just into the season.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, man. American Thanksgiving, that has me thinking about that Friday when they do that Friday early afternoon game.
Oh, yeah.
If I could just stay home and watch hockey straight, just stay home, eat leftovers, have like an 11 a.m. Flyers Rangers game, and then like a 2 p.m. like, I don't know, whoever game, maybe a Kings game because it'll be noon over there by then. And then, yeah, that's just, I love that. I love that. I love watching hockey that time of the year because I don't have as many responsibilities because I'm done teaching we're on quarters where I teach. So it's just, American Thanksgiving. Yeah. And we can watch all the YouTube we want.
There you go.
So our big topic that we're going to talk about today, next week we'll get back into talking about the sets from this season. But for this week, we wanted to talk about a retro set. And I know we had done the podcast for a number of years, and I cannot for the life of me remember if we talked about this set. I don't think we did, but if we did, so what? We'll talk about it again. The 81-82 Topps hockey set, or as I like to call it, the set with the split personality, because you had some cards that were sold in the eastern region of the United States. You had some cards that were sold in the western region of the United States. So obviously, longtime hockey card collectors, you already know this stuff because you know this stuff. You've collected this stuff. But for those of you who are like, buy the new cards but don't necessarily dig on the old cards. So 81-82 Topps. So what had happened was hockey was not working out for Topps by the early 80s. And a big reason for that was that the NHL stopped broadcasting their games nationally by 1980. You still had your regional broadcasts. So if you were in Pittsburgh, you could watch a Penguins game somewhere. If you were in New York, you could watch the Rangers games.
Actually, I don't think the Pens were on TV at that point. I think you could only get them on the radio.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, but going back to like the 70s, you had like a game of the week that was either on CBS or ABC. I mean, it would change every couple of years because even like I'd see like my hockey cards, from the 70s would say like watch NHL games on CBS or something like that. And actually another fun fact, the whole reason why the NHL expanded to LA and Oakland was because in order to get a TV deal, the TV station was like, well, we want you to have more of a presence than just the 6 cities that you're in. Because what do people on the West Coast care about a Red Wings Bruins game?
Right.
So they started adding these big markets like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And then they were like, well, Los Angeles is a big market. We should put a team there. And the Seals were a team in the old Western Hockey League, and they were popular. And so the NHL kind of wooed them away and said, hey, come play with us. And they did, but then they forced them to be in Oakland when they had a mad following in San Francisco. So that was kind of a mess. But the whole thing was about getting the TV stations to want to cover to do national broadcasts in the United States. And so by 1980, that all went away. You still had, you might have local stations show local games, but you didn't have an NHL game of the week. And if you were in New York, you couldn't necessarily watch a Kings game unless they were playing the Rangers or the Islanders or whatever. So hockey was starting, that was having an effect. And so hockey cards were not selling as well because Topps kept reducing the number of cards. In 80-81, they tried this gimmick where they put a little scratch-off circle over the player's name. We'll save that for another podcast because I absolutely hate that set, and I'll need an hour to just
Who doesn't?
spout my rage about that set. But 81-82, what they did for 81-82 was they did regional distribution. So cards 1 through 166 were sold everywhere. Cards 67 through 132, depending on what city you were in, those cards varied. So if you were in Pittsburgh, for instance, then cards 67 through 132 would have Whalers, Penguins, Flyers, Sabres, Islanders, Rangers, etc. And if you were in one of the Western Conference cities like Chicago or Minneapolis or Los Angeles, then card 67 through 132 would have like Blackhawks, Blues, more Red Wings, Colorado Rockies, Los Angeles Kings, etc. So cards 1 through 66 were Canadian teams, leader teams, and like 1 or 2 token stars from all of the American teams. And then 67 through 132, that's where it lumped up and did more regional, because I remember in 1989, it's my old man story. In 1989, getting my graduation money from 8th grade and spending it all on hockey cards. And a friend gave me a mail order catalog. Forgot what it was called. It was mostly baseball cards, but they had a few pages of hockey cards. And they were selling a complete set of 81, 82 Topps hockey. And I bought that set. And I got it. And I'm going through it. There's the Tony Esposito card, which I already had because I had previously bought just a lot. It was like a stack of 50 cards for like a couple of bucks that I bought from a card dealer in like 89. But then later that year, I'm like, I like this set. I want to get the whole set. So, all right, there's the Tony Esposito card. Oh, there's the Blackhawks team leaders card with Tom Lysiak. And I'm going through it. I'm like, yeah, lots of Islanders, lots of Penguins, lots of Rangers, lots of Whalers. Checklist. And then I'm like, where are the Blackhawks? Where are the Red Wings? Where are the Blue? Right? And I didn't know what was going on. Like, it was like, wow, this is the lamest set ever. Now I'm 14 and I didn't have like an annual price guide. So I went to the card store because, I was still like learning about like, this was at the point where I was like really like collecting and not just buying packs and saying, yeah, I got these cards and then putting them aside. It was actually starting to be like an actual collector and buying a price guide. And it's saying how cards 66 through 132, there was an East version, there was a West version. And I was so pissed off because I was like, well, what the hell? Like, so I felt like I didn't get a complete set. I got 2/3 of a set. Of course, Gretzky's in that set. Yari Curry is in that set, his rookie card. So Gretzky's third-year card, Yari Curry's rookie card, Peter Stastny's rookie card. But then as far as like the East, 67 through 132, the East, you know who the most notable rookie card in that that sequence is?
On the Eastern set?
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. He's a Bruin.
A Bruin?
Not Ray Bork.
I don't know. I can't think of who it would be.
Steve Casper.
Oh, Casper.
Yeah,
Okay.
Steve obviously, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was on the tip of my tongue.
Right. So the notable rookie cards in the Western set: Dennis Savard, Daryl Sutter, Dino Ciccarelli, Don Beaupre, and Larry Murphy. Now, some of those guys are in the Hall of Fame and some of them are not, but there's, Don Beaupre was a fan favorite, or, and Dino Ciccarelli, and he's in the Hall, and then Larry Murphy, of course, and then I know Daryl Sutter's not a Hall of Famer, but in a long time, probably more successful as a coach than as a player.
Yeah, but Curry, Stastny, Savard, Murphy, Ciccarelli, they're all in the Hall.
Yeah, but I mean the Curry and Stastny, so those are in the they call it the national cards. 1 through 66 are the national cards, and then the Western set: Savard, Sutter, Ciccarelli, Beaupre, Murphy. What's funny though is that in total, the top set had 198 cards, if you count the East cards and the West cards. And actually, there's a really easy way. If you flip over the card, you look at the back and you look under the card number. Card 67 through 132 will either say East or West underneath the card number. And I didn't realize that at the time when I was a kid. So I'd be going through like quarter boxes and dime boxes trying to find the ones that I needed. And I'd be like, were the Red Wings is this an East or a West card? Do I have this card? Do I not have this card? Because I didn't know about that little, the little text under that. But the O-Pee-Chee set, by comparison, had 396 cards. So it was double the size. Care to guess who they missed the boat on for rookie cards?
For O-Pee-Chee or no? Or for the top set? For
the top set. Who was included in the O-Pee-Chee set that was not in the top set?
Oh, well, the big one was Paul Coffey.
Yep,
right?
Paul Coffey.
Paul Coffey. Wasn't Andy Moog in there too?
Moog, yeah. Hey, good memory. 2 more Oilers.
Glenn Anderson.
Yep, that's 3. 1 more
we already said Yari Curry, right?
And you take the high road, and I'll take the.
Oh, Kevin Lowe.
Yeah.
Kevin Lowe
Yeah.
was in there.
And then also, I mean, a couple of
Dale Hunter was in there too, right?
Yeah. Hey, man. See, you remember a couple of fan favorites. I was going to say Dale Hunter, Tim Kerr, Murray Bannerman, Reggie Lemelin.
Tim Kerr.
Yeah.
How could I forget the old Flyer great?
Yeah, exactly. He was a big dude. So the top set, I mean, obviously, just by not having Paul Coffey, Andy Moo, Glenn Anderson, Kevin Lowe, I mean, those some pretty damn good cards to not have. But their focus was on the American cards. So there's only like a handful of Oilers, a handful of Canadiens, a handful of Maple Leafs, a handful of Canucks,
Well,
etc.
it's almost like if it didn't drop in the national 1 through 66, then chances are if they were a Canadian player, they were SOL being in that set.
Well, the only one I could think of off the top of my head is Don Luce was his card was
Don
airbrushed,
Luce.
make
Yeah.
him look like a
Maple Leaf,
Toronto
right?
Maple Leaf. Yeah, and you know what's funny is that, so I'm gonna just pull up that card right now because it's actually in the West sets. Because yeah, he finished out 80-81. He split with the Sabres and then the Kings. So I don't know if they airbrushed his Kings uniform or his Sabres uniform because they put him in a Maple Leafs uniform, and it's really terrible. He has this look on his face where he's almost like, I don't think a trading card could be self-aware, but I think this one could because he looks like he's just disappointed in what they did to his card.
Yeah, he's disappointed because they forgot to airbrush the numbers in, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, and you know what? Actually, I'm looking at the gloves, and it looks like the gloves are blue and yellow. So I'm going to assume that they're not King's gloves, that they're Sabres gloves. Because it looks more like blue than purple, but, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell on those old cards.
Right.
You know, so yeah, so clearly they just I mean, heck, they could have almost just used the Sabres uniform, but just swap the leaf or the saber for a leaf logo. But yeah, so I mean, there were just like a handful where they were airbrushed out. And you know what's funny is that Don Luce card was like the very last card I needed to complete my 81-82 West set so that I'd have them all. I mean, it's just ridiculous that like it just evaded me for a while. I don't know how long. I want to say it finally probably got it sometime around 92.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I mean, considering you only got the set in 89, that wasn't that long.
Almost 30 years ago. That's
Oh.
from 89 to 92. Yeah, a couple years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is back in the, like the mail order catalog type days, you know.
Right.
So, you know, I think I probably like wrote a letter. You know, they'd always say like, you know, send an SASE for a list, or you know, send your want list to this address. I remember like, you know, mailing, snail mailing, and trying to find that card, or I don't know, maybe my aunt found it. I don't remember. It took a long time for me to get that card. I actually like drew like what I thought the card would look like on like an index card and just kind of stuck it in the pocket. I just thought it'd be a close up. I don't know. And I thought he'd be with the Kings for some reason. So I don't know. It was just me not wanting to have an empty pocket in the pages.
Always the completist.
Yeah, I know. So what are your thoughts on this set? I know I've talked a disproportionate amount about this set because I have a lot to say about it, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I've as a collector, and I've more recently gone back to try to put together older sets, like 70s and 80s sets that I had once collected and have disappeared. So this is one of the ones that was on my radar. And, you know, the East is very easy to find.
Yes.
This is one thing that I will add to this conversation is you will find more often than not, I would say if you found 10 versions of this set, 9 of them would be the East, because they were much more prevalent, I think. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Was there a print run difference between the East and West version? Is there any record of that being a
I
different?
I don't know. Okay, so I've heard rumors that the East is easier to find, that the West
I
is
don't think
harder
it's
to
a
find.
rumor. I think it's true.
No, but the thing is I haven't seen anything to back that up. And you were talking about the vending cases, and
Yeah.
I would love to just open one of those and look through it and sort it. And I remember somebody had like an 81, 82 vending case. It's like 800 cards or 1,000 cards. It was just a box,
Right.
and it was East, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna overspend on something if I don't have a chance of getting a Dennis Savard rookie card in this. Then, what's the point? I know Steve Casper had an admirable career, but he's not Dennis Savard or
Right.
Cicerelli or Dale Murphy, or sorry, Larry Murphy. um, or even Dale Murphy for that matter. So, yeah, you're absolutely right on that.
Yeah, and I see the East way more often. So when I was putting, when this was on my radar, I was easily able to find the national part 1 through 66 plus the East cards. Um, I have yet to finish the West, and I don't know that I even updated my list lately. I did find a bunch at one point, and I picked them up. I knew they were West cards because I could just tell that they weren't familiar, and I pulled them out of a box. I don't think it was at the National. I think it was at a regional show around here where I
Okay.
live. And I didn't realize it. Like, I just saw the cards. I was like, oh, these are a quarter. Okay, cool. And I pulled a
Mhm.
bunch of them out and took them home, and not realizing the back, they were extremely miscut on the back.
Oh.
The fronts looked perfect, but the backs looked like somebody peeled off the back and stuck a half of 3 other cards on it.
Oh, that
So
sucks.
yeah, so that's the first appearance of some West cards that I've seen in quite a long time. But I mean, so each set has 132 cards, right? But
Yes.
you share the first 66, so you have
Yes.
198 total. Would that
Yes.
not mean that the first 66 are double printed?
That is correct.
Okay. So
So
there's
what I'm thinking what happened is they probably did an A sheet that had 1 through 66 and then 67 through 132 East, and then a B sheet that had 1 through 66 again, and then 67 through 132 West, because Tops would double print stuff. That was a
yeah.
common thing. That's why like the Mario Lemieux and 88, 89 Tops is so easy to find because it was double printed.
Right. Right. Um was this not also the first year that Topps put the logo on the cards?
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, actually, that is the first year. Actually, there were two firsts for this set. There are probably a couple others that maybe I'm forgetting, but the first is that this is the first year they dropped that little cartoon on the back,
Oh, the little like
the
blurb.
little drawing.
Yeah. It still
Eighty
has
eighty.
like a little quip about the guy, but yeah, the drawing's gone.
The drawing's gone, so they
Yeah.
they they dropped the drawing in 81, 82. And then the other thing is that they put the Tops logo on the front. And so what's funny with the OPG set is because OPG would just take the top set and just, add another 132 cards or whatever, or 198 cards or whatever, and they would, do the French text on the back and,
Right.
maybe change the logo if the player got traded. But OPG had to they couldn't have Tops on the front of the card. So they put OPG, but it's just like literally just like they just picked the first font that they could find. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, just like it's like an italicized sans serif font that doesn't even fit where the Tops logo goes. Like it doesn't fit that space. It just looks weird. Um, because this was before OPG had that branding, that particular type of font. They had the OPG logo that had like the big O and then Peachy inside of it, and maybe the little kids around it. They had that logo that you'd see on hockey cards. But they didn't have like a front of the card logo. Like you think of like 86, 87, 87, 88, where they had that like oval with OPC inside of it. You recall, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way they wrote like O and then P and then Chi and like, just that like all lowercase except for the big O. Yeah, with the hyphens. So like, yeah, they just kind of just put OPC there because they didn't, they're like, oh crap, we can't put tops there. We got to put, I guess we just got, like they spent like 2 minutes
So why do you
putting.
think they would do this? I mean,
Do
you
what?
think so? I mean, O-Pee-Chee and Tops share the front and back design almost every single year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like a regular traditional thing that they've done, and they just parallel each other and share the same design. They change the logo, but why would they? Why do you think this year Tops went all crazy nutty and decided to do some regional release, and O-Pee-Chee's like, yeah, nope, we're out. We're just going to do our regular cards like we normally do. Why do you think they would do that different?
You mean the design? I'm sorry, I don't follow. So you're
Well, the
talking about.
design's the same. The design's the same, just like normal.
Yep.
Everything's the same. They just change the Topps logo to a peachy like they do on everything.
Yep.
But why do you think they didn't follow the same distribution that Topps did?
They wouldn't need to because hockey cards were huge in Canada. That was the run 74, 75 to 84, 85, or maybe 73, 74. I'm trying to remember. But there was like a 10-year span, 10 or 11-year span where OPC was 96 cards. I mean, it was just super popular. So they would do these big sets of, almost 400 cards because the demand was there because people wanted the cards. So they'd have no reason to. I mean, if you were in another province, you probably still wanted the Oilers cards because they were damn good players, right?
Yeah.
So you'd want those, and I think that like a lot of times, like as a fellow blogger that we both know, Dave Harrison, he's a huge New Jersey Devils fan, and I asked him about that, and he's told me he's just like, well, my province doesn't have a hockey team, doesn't have an NHL team, so it's like, if you live close to like an NHL city, like if you're close enough to say like Boston or Detroit or something, you might adopt that as like your favorite team. He goes, but if not, then you just have to have your own reasons for liking an NHL team. And he picked the Devils just because he liked the way the logo looked when he was 7. So if you're in Canada, you can obviously you could be a fan of whatever team you want, but there's a little more leeway. It's not just regional, like, oh, well, I live in Pittsburgh, so I'm a Penguins fan, or I live in Chicago, I'm a Blackhawks fan. It's like, no, I live in Saskatchewan and we don't have an NHL team, so I'm going to be a Florida Panthers fan because why not?
Yeah. So they don't need the help of regional distribution from that standpoint. It's just interesting that they follow along the same path as Tops, other than the fact that they have more cards generally. But then Tops decides to go off the rails and do something weird, and O-Pee-Chee's like, nope, we're not doing that. And we see the writing on the wall, and the next year Tops is no longer making hockey cards.
They did do hockey stickers.
I said cards.
Yes, I know, and I know the Tops Now stickers are not Tops Now cards, but yeah. So that's true. They didn't.
Yeah,
They didn't make.
they were out of making hockey cards because, like we when we started talking about this, they were having a hard time with that market, and this was kind of like their swan song for a minute. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. This is the last ditch effort to salvage this as a branch of our business. And nope, it's not working out. So
Well,
we're just going to go away.
they did goofy stuff also with their basketball cards because if you remember, like the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird rookie year was at 80-81. They had those like tearaway cards, those cards that you
Yes, the
tore
perforated
apart.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just yeah, so
The panel cards.
the basketball was not, obviously not a what's it called, a big seller either, because that went away for a while. These 81, 82 Topps cards always reminded me a little bit of the Empire Strikes Back cards from 1980, if only because there's this like thick red border that goes around the picture.
Oh
It's like a
yeah, I could see
red
that.
and white border, like white, then red, then white. And so,
Yeah.
it's only curved on like two corners, not four. But and obviously, like with the Empire Strikes Back, they had a more uniform look from card to card. They didn't like change well, they changed the colors for like Series 2 and Series 3 and stuff. But yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that a little bit, which is funny because 1980 Empire Strikes Back was like the first cards that I remember getting. Just like as a kid, I remember my mom buying the cards. She would chew the gum. She'd give me these cards and the stickers, and I would just be so excited because the only way to see Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back was go see it in the movie theater, or maybe you had the Marvel comics, or maybe you had the storybook. But to have like images from the movie that you could look at over and over, of your favorite characters and scenes was like a big deal. And I just remember that like those just stood out to me like as the first time I was aware of cards.
Star Wars is hot. It's a hot commodity. It
Always,
al-
yeah.
it always
Well,
will be.
yeah, well, it was kind of dead for a while. I remember, like, say 1985, 86, we'll say to like 95 was like, so like there's like a 10-year period where Star Wars was just kind of dead because there were no new movies coming out, there were no new toys on the shelves, there wasn't really any new fiction coming out. Let me actually walk that back a little bit because I know this isn't a non-sports show, but I love me the Star Wars, and actually that was my big distraction that got me away from collecting hockey cards for many years in the late 90s was Star Wars. Um, the there were some Star Wars comic books that came out in 91, 92 by Dark Horse called Dark Empire, which I remember buying those, and that actually got me back into buying comic books because I used to collect comic books in the 80s. And then there was also the Timothy Zahn novels that came out around the same time that introduced Grand Admiral Thrawn before he appeared in Star Wars Rebels, and so but that was kind of when it was kind of coming back, but it was still kind of underground, like a Star Wars novel, and there was enough of a demand for it. But it was by '95 when George Lucas was like, I'm going to make some sequels and I'm going to digitally remaster and edit the original movies, and here are some Star Wars toys, and then it just kind of came back. It's at the almost 20 years where it just kind of came back into vogue. So yeah, it seems like most pop culture stuff, there's that 10-year window where like people just stop caring about it.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could. I guess I could see that. I didn't care about Star Wars then either. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I mean you get onto other things. It's like the target the people who were into it, like they moved on to something else, and the people who were too young for it just didn't care because it wasn't for them. But then like when it came, like for instance, like what's funny is I got a brother who's 14 years younger than me. So I bought him Star Wars Episode 1 as a Christmas or birthday present, and I also bought him like the original trilogy, and I was trying to get him into Star Wars movies, and he was into it, but he was probably 10 when Episode 1 came out, so he liked Episode 1. He liked Anakin Skywalker, the pod racer, like
Ah, so he's the one.
yeah, that was the one fan. No,
The
there
one
was
person that liked that.
yeah, no, that was the target demographic though, is that Lucas was trying to make a movie for the 10-year-old, which is why
Okay.
the 24-year-old didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because it was for kids, it was a little too childlike, whereas like maybe Empire was definitely more adult because it's just so depressing and awesome at the same time.
Anything that was good about Episode 1 was Darth Maul.
Yeah, and they cut them in half.
Darth Maul was pretty badass.
And I think we've pretty much lost all of our listeners. But hey, if you like the impromptu Star Wars discussion, please like and subscribe and leave a comment, or buy a T-shirt from shop.puckjunk.com to help support this site and support this podcast. Tim, anything else you want to say before we go?
Nope, nothing.
Nope. The last thing I'll say though is that
next week.
The Topps hockey set, not very expensive, $81.82. I saw them range anywhere from $13 to $50 on eBay, which is a lot of wiggle room. So if you look around, you can find the whole 198 card set for, about the price of a blaster box.
Nice.
All right, well, that's it. Thank you for listening to the Puck Junk Podcast, and we hope you will join us again next week. For more hockey goodness, follow us on Twitter @PuckJunk.